Greetings, chess fans. The second day of the 58th International Biel Chess Festival has just concluded, and today was the day when the players of the GMT Masters and Challengers fought it out in the rapid section, the very first leg of the Grandmaster Triathlon. Once again, the Grandmaster Triathlon, the main event of the Biel Chess Festival, is a combination of three tournaments: Rapid, Classical and Blitz. And today, the players fought against each other in the Rapid tournament. So I have selected for you the best game across both tournaments because that was the one that featured a lot of up and downs, crazy moments, and ended with an unexpected twist. This game was played in the final round of the Challengers tournament, where Aram Hakobian with the white collar was trying to take on the leader, the current leader of the tournament, Nicolas Theodorou. Speaking about Nicolas, he was doing pretty poorly in the chess 960 tournament, finishing in the last place. Hakobian was looking for a chance to win the game and overtake the current leader in the overall standings. So the game started with d4, knight f6 on c4, and you would think that the tournament leader would want to play something solid. But no, here Theodorou played c5, d5, and b5, the Benko opening, which is a pretty rare guest at a GM level. C takes on b5 was played, a6, b takes on a6, and here suddenly, instead of the automatic typical moves here, g6, bishop g7, sometimes black plays queen a5 for knight a6, black suddenly played e6, transposed into some sort of Blumenfeld gambit. So white normally here plays knight c3, but Hakobian decided to play d takes on e6, f takes on e6, and after knight c3, bishop takes on a6, black had sacrificed the pawn, but gotten a lot of activity in return. The game continued with g3, bishop g2, d5, knight h3. Knight h3 was the idea to go for knight f4, and knight g5 idea is to target most notably the weak pawn on e6. Black played knight c6, short castle, and rook e1. All of this was meaning that white was prepping the idea to play e4, which would allow him to target the center and also activate the bishop on g2. Black responded with queen e8, which marked as a mistake, and here apparently white had to include knight g5 first, target the pawn on e6, and only then proceed with the move e4. During the live commentary, we were suggesting this, and I said that, e4 does make perfect sense because after d4, there's suddenly e5, opening up the bishop on g2, and after d takes on c3, I said e takes on f6, and let the players figure it out. Guess what? This is what Hakobian did. He did play this line because he saw further than I was doing the commentary. The point is, after bishop takes on f6, here Hakobian's idea to play rook takes on e6, and if you see this line, it's very difficult to walk past it. And yet, at least according to the engine, this is not the best, because here the Greek grandmaster could have played the best queen takes on e6, seemingly walking directly in the trap. But the point is, after bishop d5, here black had an unexpected resource to play bishop c4. A very, very difficult move to spot from there far. The point is, after bishop e6, bishop takes on e6, suddenly black gets tons of activity here and enjoys a full compensation. Now, instead of this, here black plays rook d8, probably missing from the far the only move between the difference between the win and the loss, which was bishop d5. This is what the player from the white's perspective found it, and here the point is black cannot play queen f7 because here white plays the only move, rook d6, but it is enough to win the game. The point is rook takes on d6, white plays bishop takes on f7, collects the rook on d6, and easily wins the game. So instead of this, here king h8 was played by Nicolas from the black's perspective. Rook takes, and bishop g5. Pretty powerful move here, trying to simplify the position, but as you can see, Hakobian was spending a lot of time trying to simplify the position. C takes on b2 was played, rook b1, rook e5, and now comes the critical moment. So after bishop takes on f6, obviously the tournament leader was trying to complicate matters. He took the bishop on d5, and here Jacobian did not find the way in the complications. According to an engine, he should have played bishop takes on g7, king takes on g7, and play queen g4 check. But you can easily imagine why he didn't do it, because after king h8, the pawn on b2 stays alive, and naturally after rook takes on b2, you see ideas like rook d1 check, king goes g2, and there's suddenly bishop f1, and suddenly black develops a killing attack. That's why here Jacobi didn't do this, even though here Stockfish says knight g5, and white still keeps the winning chances. That's why here Jacobian played bishop takes on d8, allowing black to play rook takes on d1, rook takes on d1, and bishop d3. This was definitely the original plan for Jacobian, because he felt after knight f4, if black is going to put the queen on b1, white's going to give away the extra rook, but white keeps the extra pawn, has an outside pass pawn, and probably decent chances to win the game. But around here, probably both players realized that black doesn't really have to promote the b pawn, and here black played a very unpleasant bishop c2, and suddenly black is thinking about ideas like c5, c4, c3, c2, and just put two queens on the board, not one. Here white played rook e1, the only move in the position. King g8 was played, and here after king g8, white played bishop b6, trying to eliminate both pawns. Knight e4 was a very powerful argument, threatening to play knight f3 check, eliminating the rook e1 and then promoting to the queen. And now this was basically a pure time scramble and, as they say, a cinema on the board. Here white played king g2, stopping knight f3. Bishop e4 was a really great move, as you can see. Rook takes on e4 is impossible because here black promotes. King h3 was played, knight f3, another brilliancy here by Nicholas, because again, rook takes on e4, black can either give a check or perhaps even promote immediately. White played here rook d1, and here came the mistake. Bishop c2, but you can't really blame the Greek grandmaster for misplaying this, and the reputation is nothing but easy. Now here white could have played rook d8 check, king f7, the unexpected bishop takes on c5, not allowing black to promote to the queen. Why? Because there's a very unusual checkmate on the board. So black cannot checkmate you, then white puts the rook behind the pawn, and then simply is winning the endgame because of the two extra pawns. Speaking about what Theodoros' best choice was here in this position, it's not bishop c2, it was the move knight g5 check. And I suspect in the time scramble, Nicholas simply missed that white gonna play king g4 because of bishop f3 check. For example, here, bishop f3 check, king g5, bishop takes on d1, and now this b pawn is unstoppable. So the game would have continued instead of this king h4, knight f3 check. White cannot go forward like king h5, black can play knight e4, once again threatening with bishop f3, and ultimately the game is going to end with position repeating. Now instead of this, obviously both players are human beings, and here after bishop c2, rook f1 was played, and a couple of moves later, black had nothing better to do than to promote the b pawn. So finally here, black was once again in trouble. White got exactly what he wanted, and this position looks very close to winning because white has really great chances to create an outside pass pawn at the queen side and the second one at the king side. So our dear Stockfish says, of course, somehow black is able to hold this, but from practical point of view, it's very difficult. The critical moment still was to be seen, because the players were, at least according to an engine, missing the moments. And finally here, one more final moment here. White had to figure out to create a second pass pawn, which is something that Jacobian did. He played g4, bishop d1, and here all he had to do is to play king g5, play f5, would have been winning. Instead he played h3, f5, still is completely winning, still it's fine. Bishop h3, f takes, g takes, and here automatic move king g5 cost him the victory in this game. Where's the difference here? Because after king g5, king a6, suddenly black built a a fortress. So if white takes on g6, black eliminates this pawn, gives away the bishop for the h pawn. As you can see, this is the wrong corner for the dark square bishop. Where was the victory? Instead of the king g5, the unusual move g5 would have sealed the deal for the Armenian grandmaster. The point is, after bishop f5 here, black is not setting up a fortress because white plays h5 and crashes through. So it was a really crazy game, and after king g5 finally here, both players realized this is just a fortress, and a draw was agreed shortly, and this also gave the victory for the Greek grandmaster in the rapid tournament. So now that the tournament is finished, let's also have a look at the current standings of the rapid tournament. So Nicholas Theodorou does take down the first event, at least the GMT Triathlon, ahead of Aram Hakobian, 8 points against 7. Again, in rapid tournaments, 2 points for the victory, 1 point for a draw. Makun is in the third place. In the meantime, the Masters tournament was a bit more unpredictable because the leaders were changing all the time. In the end, it was Vladimir Fedoseev who shared the victory together with Aravind, coming back in the final round, and Radoslav Wojtaszek 1 point behind. The action is continuing after the rest day, and then the players are going to come back with the classical tournament with more action. In the meantime, don't miss the action and come back once again at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time, when Biel Chess Festival after the rest day is going to continue with the classical chess. Stay tuned and see you in live coverage.